Garbage in, garbage out.
That still is the cutest intro that we have.
Yeah, I'm partial to it.
I really like that. So yeah, and actually, for Ronnoc, that intro is actually Koimia's niece and nephew. Just doing the garbage. Was that your nephew going garbage in, your niece going garbage out?
Yeah, that was exactly it. So
I
had my brother whip that up in like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
so
yeah, it was really cool. I mean, he was just like, "Hey, can I do this?" We're like, "Yes." Anything we can get for the show.
I'm still looking for an intro and outro, so you're lucky, I guess.
He just offered it to us, and we were just like, "Yes, please, yes, please." No, so today on the show we have fellow podcaster Ronnoc joining us, and I was actually excited. We were supposed to do this about 2 weeks ago. I want to say it was
2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I ended up with what I believe I didn't go to the doctor and get it confirmed, but I'm pretty sure I had the norovirus. It's it was just not fun. I know we're kind of getting into some weird territory here, but actually my wife has almost never seen me actually like get sick to my stomach. And we've been married we've been together for 19 years and married for 18 this year. And she's almost never seen me throw up. And then just
until that day.
Yeah. And she was just sitting in the bed and I had the bucket next to me just because I felt sick. And then all of a sudden she was like, "Wait, what's that sound?" It's like she's never heard it before. And I'm sitting there like, "Urgh." So she's like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "I'm not
she
dying,
stayed with you.
Yeah.
Brave girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the next morning I messaged you guys both like right immediately, and I was like, "I'm not coming out. You can do it yourselves if you want to, but I'm not doing it." Yeah. So we ended up taking a bye week that week.
Yes, but thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem. It's great beer.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know, tell us, who are you? What kind of podcast do you have? I know, but for the people that don't know.
Well, yeah, my name is Ronnoc. I host an interview style show where I've for every starting March 19th, I'll be having a new episode every week, and that's what I do. I interview people.
Oh, nice.
Is it one specific thing, or do you just feel like, okay, this week I feel like doing somebody from a band, and then next week it's going to be somebody does like video games, or?
Well, I obviously post and hey, if you're interested, but mainly, but like if it whatever really like recently I just did an interview for Sidekick. That was the most recent interview that came out.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. That's cool.
But yeah, whoever really just wants to come on, then I post it.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember during the episode we had, it was more about like mental health and video games and how video games helped me through certain things.
Oh, that's cool. And how long have you been doing this?
Since May 2024.
Oh, okay. So just about a year or so. Okay.
Yeah. I was crap in the beginning, but I feel like gotten better. Yeah.
I mean, we still are. But
we've gotten better, which is kind of what's the sad part.
Yeah. Not by much. Not by much.
Yeah, we've gotten about 2% better. Actually, I've asked a few people to come onto the show, and they were like, "Hey, can I see your previous episodes?" And then I show it to them, and they're like, "Oh, so you're fairly new at this?" It's like, no.
that 2% better that we've gotten is that intro. So that's our gotten better. So
yeah, and we do have a couple of cool cutaways here, but I mean that's really it.
Yeah.
That's whatever you were talking about for you.
Yeah, just things like that. Actually, that I put that on there specifically because Koimiya requested that one.
I'll go on rants, and that's what Adam replies with. So Ronnoc, for your podcast, is it like an actual podcast on Spotify or anything, or do you do it here on YouTube or?
It's both Spotify and YouTube, but I call it a show. But
Okay.
it's still a podcast. You know what I mean?
Okay. So it's what is it? Tired Granola?
Tired Granola Bar podcast.
And that's what I would find it under on Spotify.
Yeah, and YouTube. Yes.
Awesome. And where'd you come up with that name?
Funny story. In the very beginning, my friend, which hi, I hope you're watching. They sent me a Reddit post when I first was talking about, hey, I want to do this just for fun, and they just sent me like it was this post saying like what you're feeling, what you had for breakfast, and then put a podcast to the end. And I was tired. I'm always tired. So, and then if you consider granola bar, if you consider a cereal bar, granola, it's basically the same thing. So
Right.
I just tired granola bar podcast, and here we are.
Okay, so it's kind of like that game that I used to play as a kid. Take your last name and your street, or your dog's name and your street name, and that's your porn star name or whatever. And
yeah.
Okay. Well, I like it. That's humorous because I too am always tired.
Me too. I think it's a job thing.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think it's a good name. I'm not unless I think of something better. I'm probably just not going to change it.
No, I think it's great. I do. I think I'm going to have to look you up on Spotify and add you onto my list of things to listen to.
Cool. So far, I think so far I've had like 20 episodes. Maybe I haven't counted really.
Okay. And you're going to start going weekly, you said?
Yeah, it's I not to like leak anything, but like I just checked this morning and I was already up to like December for going to every 2 weeks. So that did not that was not going to keep going unless I just
right.
The burnout is real. The burnout is real. That's why my slogan, you can kind of maybe see it behind me. It's dad by day, gamer by night, sometimes streamer. Because it's like I have a tendency more of getting on Twitter and going, hey, I'm going to stream tonight. And then something without fail always happens. Like one time I was like, I'm going to stream tonight. And then I ended up having a cat that was sick. And eventually we did have to put it down. Or it's like, I'm going to stream tonight. And then a storm will blow in and knock my power out. And so I've come to the conclusion that the next time I'm going to stream, I'm not going to say anything till like right before I go live because I'm always jinxing myself, it seems like.
Yeah, a long time ago, I've been trying to make streaming kind of what I do for a living for a long time. And, I know that you have to really work up for that. But every single time I was like, I'm going to get a regular schedule. I'm going to really stick to the schedule. I stick to that schedule for like maybe 3 weeks. And then it's just like, now I'm just like, you know what? I go on roughly about this time, between this time and this time. And luckily a lot of my viewers are like, yeah, we know how you are. So we're going to just watch for that notification.
Yeah. That's why I got excited when I switched to my third shift and I had a set schedule where I'm always off Friday and Saturday nights now. And I was like, yes, I can get more streaming in. And I still haven't done a like a personal stream yet in 2025.
Oh wow!
We are almost going into March, and all I've done for streaming in 2025 is this show.
I did some in January, and then I haven't done a lot since the end of January, and then in most of February I haven't done anything. But I've started using Mix It Up. Which I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's a really cool bot that you can customize basically every aspect of
I have heard of that. Yep, I have heard of that. I was looking into that because it was back in the day when Glimish was a streaming platform that I was using. Mix It Up was like one of the few chat bots that would actually work with Glimish.
Mm-hmm.
So
because it was like I've been using WiseBot and I've used Nightbot and a few others, but those mostly just say, "Oh, hey, this person's here. They donated," stuff like that. The real minor stuff. But like with Mix It Up, I can go in there now. I've got like a T-Rex sound, so if you want to go in there, and if you are, watching for so long, you get those channel points that Twitch has, and then you get so many of those. Like you can actually. I have it where you could scare me, where I could be in the middle of a horror game or even a family-friendly game, and somebody can just tap that, and it's all of a sudden going to go like right in my ear, and I'm probably going to jump.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, because even though I might get a little pissed off at that, that's usually funny to the audience. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I have some things that like are interactive on my. There's a thing called Blurby, and you can use like your channel points and whatnot, or when you donate bits, and it plays sound clips and stuff like that, but they'll pop up like actual alerts on the screen and things like that.
So is Spotify, Ronnoc, is Spotify and YouTube the only thing we can find that on? Like, do you do any kind of Twitch, or do you do any other kind of platforms?
Not currently. I maybe when I do think that once I hit my 100 video, I'll try at least go live for like one time at least to see how it goes. But for now, It's just gonna be on Spotify and YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah,
recently I just got the ability to go live on TikTok. So I'm actually looking at moving this show. Well, not moving it, but also if we can find another platform other than the great, awesome one that we are using now. Hint.
Wink.
I can't wink, dude.
It's a blink. It's a blink for you.
Then, there was a whole video that I made about that. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I remember us discussing it.
Yep. And Ronnoc, it was actually this whole thing. There was something that happened online where people were like, when a Cyclops closes its eye, is it blinking or is it winking? So I did a whole TikTok video where I was like, as an actual Cyclops, I have that same question.
You tell me.
I can't tell you. And everyone, actually, I think the best comment that I got from that was, it's not a blink or a wink, it's called scaring the children. And I was I was like,
damn.
Okay, that's a burn, but that's a good one.
That's fantastic.
Nobody's ever told me what this is. Is it a blink or a wink when I close my eye? And
I believe my answer was just yes.
Yeah, that's about what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, technically, if you, considering you're calling yourself a Cyclops, and I have in the glasses I'm wearing, who's the real Cyclops?
Ooh.
I will duke it out.
I'll just sit back here and laugh.
I don't know why, but now I'm thinking this is like Celebrity Deathmatch, and
Right.
Koimita is going to be, referee Mills Lane.
Yeah. God, that was a great show.
Ronnoc, I don't know. I'm not sure how old you are, but did you ever watch Celebrity Deathmatch?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, that was back when.
Get around, children. We're going to tell you a story.
Yes.
Okay.
I know. Now I feel like Grandpa Simpson with all like the kids.
Well, there used to be on MTV. There was a claymation like stop motion, and it was called Celebrity Deathmatch, where they would take like one episode was like, I swear to God, it was like Marilyn Manson versus Santa Claus or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the referee was Judge Mills Lane. And they just did the most outlandish, ridiculous things because it was claymation stop motion, and it was freaking hilarious. I believe they even actually made a PlayStation game on the PlayStation 1. That's how old we're talking here. And but yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
A lot of times it was celebrities at the time, because this was mid 90s, mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times it was celebrities who either had some sort of beef with each other. I mean, think of like Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, or Tupac and Biggie. Like they had some sort of beef with each other, and then basically they would just be pummeling each other, and it would literally end with somebody dying in like the most horrific way. A lot of times, and remember, it was claymation, so they could go completely out out of
Like
left field.
somebody would get thrown in a vault of acid or something and melt and disintegrate, and it was just ridiculous. But God, it was hilarious.
They had what was it? They had Adam Sandler versus Chris Rock, which those two are like best friends in real life, and I think like they didn't even want to fight in there, like the two, and then it was like some stupid thing where like they just made a comment like, "Oh, now you have to die," and they were like ripping each other's limbs off.
Yeah.
They had Marilyn Manson. I think he was the one.
Of course, he against.
Was it him versus? No, it was It wasn't Santa. It was Garth Brooks, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe, I don't remember. I'll have to look it up, but it was almost like Robot Chicken before Robot Chicken. Instead of many little clips like Robot Chicken does, it was all just wrestling.
Mhm.
So everybody's wrestling into the death.
Yeah. So, but that's us. We're gonna fight, and referee Mills Lane. Mills Lane. I think he's the actual guy is passed away now.
I believe he's passed.
Yeah, referee Mills
R.I.P.
Lane. He was a famous judge, and like on one of those courtrooms.
Was it? I believe it was People's Court, wasn't it?
It might have been
the original People's Court. Yeah.
I think and then once he was off, I think didn't he have his own show like called Judge Mills Lane?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he was the original judge on the People's Court, and the way that he would say, let's get started instead of like, court is adjourned, he'd be like, all right, let's get it on. And and then he actually became a wrestling referee. So, and he would be, giving the rules like no hitting below the belt, and all right, let's get it on. And so, of course, they made him claymation version of him. Yeah. They made him, and of course, he was
version or something.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was like the only one that voiced his own character.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like an animated version, like a bunch of like cartoon characters, like Elsa versus like like something like like it's animated, but it's not claymation.
Yeah, they've tried to resurrect the show a couple of times, and
it's just not as good.
I believe the animation one is the newest version.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest ones that I remember seeing was Beavis versus Butthead. They pulled him from the 2D world, brought him to the claymation 3D world, and then had him fight.
Yep. So
that's like the only MTV cartoon that I can think of that still has a life today is Beavis and Butthead. And it's mostly because of my generation that sits there and just like, yes, it's back.
Yeah.
Because Ren and Stimpy, but Ren and Stimpy was Nickelodeon and then aired on MTV later.
Right.
And then they went to Spike TV where it died because that was just horrible. And then
it was.
And they've referenced it since then, but it's Beavis and Butthead is the only one they've actually officially brought back.
And I mean,
multiple times.
Technically, Eon Flux had the live action movie with was it Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
So I mean, they did try to capitalize on that.
I remember Stan Lee did Stripperella, but was that FX or was that MTV? I know Viacom owned both of them, but I thought that was MTV. Stripperella, because it was Pamela Anderson that did the voice.
I thought that was Comedy Central.
And that was still owned by Viacom. So it was the same parent company, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think they maybe
I thought that came on. I thought that came on before or after what was like the Comedy Central version of like Big Brother.
I remember
and they had no. It was very bizarre. I mean, it was like I don't remember. But it was almost kind of like the concept of Total Drama Island for the kids show on Cartoon Network, but it was like Big Brother, but God, I don't. But it was like for former celebrities, but it was an animated show, and they had like a Betty Boop type character, and they had like
Drawn Together.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, because I'm pretty sure they showed Stripperella before or after that. So.
Yeah, Drawn Together, and the pig was basically Porky Pig in Hampton, but it was voiced by Adam Carolla, the comedian.
Yep, that's the one. So.
Yeah, sorry, we kind of derailed this.
See, this is what we're talking about, Ronnoc. We make this shit up on the fly, and we've already deviated away from you.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's why I said we play fast and loose with the show.
So Ronnoc, do you play games then too? Or, I mean, either be it in your spare time or stream them or anything like that? And
I wouldn't say I'm a gamer per se, but I play I play like mobile games.
okay. Hey, those are games. Yeah, okay. Yeah, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So,
What kind of
do you
games
have that favorite?
do you
Yeah.
do?
I'm a big Temple Run fan. I if the other some of the other games I like are like the website like Crazy Games and like Pokey and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I play like on that. So I like the driving games.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll admit, one of my favorite pastimes on mobile is I actually like the coloring books. You know, I have the little stylus pen, and I just sit there and I mean, it's not really coloring, but it's a great little time waster. You know, there's one that my wife plays. I don't remember what it's called, but I see ads for it on Facebook all the time. But it's one of
Candy
those
Crush?
where no, it's not Candy Crush, but it's one of those where it's like you do the mix and matches, and then you're like rebuilding a house that you inherited from like your aunt or some shit because she got locked up from murder or something. It's really bizarre.
You're talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but my wife loves that one.
Yeah, I know they do a lot of Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto on mobile now. Do you ever do any of those, like kind of the older games that are now been mobilized?
I tried those a little bit, but I couldn't really get into it. I was never like a PS fan, anyways. I like a PlayStation fan, anyways. But I played it occasionally
Okay.
in like my youth.
Yeah. You're still probably. I mean, I can't tell for
I'm
sure
kidding,
looking at your icon there, but I'm pretty sure you're younger than both of us.
Yeah, I'm kidding, but yeah, that was like my sophomore year photo. I just thought it looked good.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of things I thought looked good my sophomore year that I look at now, and I'm just like, what was I thinking?
My sophomore year, I actually had brown hair. I had a brown goatee. You know, all this gray was not there my sophomore year.
My sophomore year, I was still wearing the baggy clothes, which I like now, but I had the flannel. I was one of those 90s kids. I had the flannel jackets. I had the windbreaker. I had the Jinko jeans, which are like 3 sizes too big.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I had the belt on and then walked around, and of course, I mean, you see me with a hat now, and I always wear. But what I had then was you know, those what do you call it? Those hats without the top here, those sun visors.
Like the tennis visors.
Yeah, but they were made out of like the cloth, like this is, and I would actually turn it upside down and wear it backwards because I thought
Jesus
I was
Christ.
just so yeah, I was just walking around.
You ended up looking like a DJ Claw in that movie.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I was just like, yeah, because I'm a gangster. It's like I'm this like 14-year-old white kid walking around going.
Looking at fucking Cyclops walking around like.
And of course, like that was at the time when like Tupac and Biggie were really big, and of course his biggest diss track, Tupac's biggest diss track, which was "Hit 'Em Up." And I don't know if you guys remember that song. I know Koimiya, you probably do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was sitting in there being like, yeah, my fofo makes sure all your kids don't grow. It's like, no. That's like, I look at this now and I'm just like, no, what, why was I doing that?
So here's a fun one for you, Cyclops. So you'll this is when make you scratch your head. I'm not that big of a fan of Tupac's music. That I like Machiavelli.
That's the same guy, too.
I know. Like I said, this one's gonna make you scratch your head.
Oh, it was a different style. I will give you that.
That's I think the main thing is that exactly the style. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Tupac as a guy. I love him as a guy, and I love Machiavelli, but his Tupac, I don't know. It's a style thing. But yeah, my sophomore year, I actually grew a goatee in between my freshman and sophomore year in high school. And when I came back to school, I was like the only one with a full goatee, and everybody's like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "What the hell?" Like, but that was my
Yeah.
only claim to fame. I could grow a goatee at 16.
Man, I was amazed. My freshman year, I saw like a bunch of kids with beards, and I was like, "Is that real?" Because like I don't think I've actually like, like I saw like people with maybe like sideburns, but that's all I've ever seen like a pair, people, So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was amazed.
Yeah, when I turned 16, I was it's kind of a weird age because that was actually when my mom moved us from the town that I grew up in, like for my whole life, and all of a sudden she moved us 4 hours away. So that was really messed me up as as a kid. But when we got to where we moved to, which was Rochester, Minnesota, she knew that she didn't want me just relying on the bus schedule all the time, and she had enough that I could get a car. So so I ended up getting a car, and when we would drive back to Illinois to visit family here, a lot of times I would have this car, and I would drop her off wherever she wanted to go, or drop her off at my grandparents, and then I'd go visit my friends. And of course, my claim to fame was now, even though I didn't go to school with them anymore, I still hung out with them when I came back into town,
I've
and
got a
I was
car.
the one with the car. Because my friend Brian, he had to always borrow his mom's car or his brother's car. Everybody else was like, I got my license, but my dad's got the car. And I'm sitting here going like, I got mine. So, of course, everybody's running to me. That's so weird now because so many 16-year-olds don't even want to get their license. They just want to use Uber all the time. And I'm like, that's expensive, but I don't know. I can kind of see where they're going because of the price of gas.
Yeah, it was like that one meme that I saw. It's like, as a kid growing up, don't get into cars with strangers, and now going up, hey, use your phone to call a stranger to come get you.
Yeah. Is this your license plate?
Right? Yeah. Exactly. So,
luckily, anytime I've had to use Uber, it's always been it's always been like a younger, like teenage or like early 20s girl that's picked me up. And I don't feel threatened by this, So it's like my wife and I got into the car and we just instantly looked where I was like, we're safe. we're safe, we're fine. So yeah, and we only had to use Uber like a couple of times, but nothing against it. And if they want to sponsor us, that'd be great. But I've just only had to ever use them a few times.
So, Ronnoc, a couple weekends ago, we did a music episode. What do you listen to?
I listen to literally anything. That's, you can't really ask me what I like. Without
What's your current favorite?
Current favorite? I got I just if are we talking about artists or like what kind? What do you mean?
Anything. Your favorite band, your favorite style music, anything.
Just a sec. Well, I know I recently got fell in love with this artist called Crispy D, and
can't say I've heard of that one. What do they do?
They're like it's kind of, I don't know. I can't really describe it, but it's really good. Like just like it's kind of a rock, but it's depressing, but it's a rock. If that makes sense.
Okay. What are you doing, Cyclops?
I dropped my phone. I was using that as my second screen, and it said here, and it actually went down, and then I put it up, and it went down again. So I was like, "Oh, I hope that didn't go," but apparently it was too close to the microphone, and you heard it.
Yes. So you said crispy like a crispy chicken?
Crispy, yeah, crispy. I can put it in the chat if you'd like.
Sure, yeah. I'm always down to check out new music. So
I'll put it in the private chat.
Okay.
Yeah. One of my current favorites. I know this was a little controversial, at least it was when they first happened, but I'm liking the newer Linkin Park with the new singer. I know that they're not trying to erase the past. They're not disrespecting the legacy of Chester Bennington, but I really like Emily Armstrong as their new lead vocalist. I think she's got one of the best sounding rock voices in modern music.
Have you heard Spirit Box?
Mm-mm.
No, I
That
haven't.
girl can freaking, like, I've only seen like a couple of their reels, or for some odd reason have been popping up in my Facebook timeline under the reels section. But
Mhm.
that girl, man, she can growl.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the
Crispy
thing.
D.
Like, so many female singers, they like, a lot of people are like, oh, the females can't sing metal. I'm like, the hell they can't. It's just,
Yeah.
I think everyone's so used to it being, like somebody like the lead singer of Disturbed, or Static X, or things like that. I think they're just used to hearing that. When you get a girl that's got a higher voice but can still hit that scream sing, it sounds just as good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been meaning to look into more Spirit Box. I mean, I'll flat out admit I'm still on that baby metal kick, and I actually saw that one of their newest songs, which is a collaboration they did with Electric Callboy, which is very catchy as hell. It's called Ratatata, and that's actually going to be on the new WWE 2K. What is it, 5 or 6, whatever the next one that's coming out. That's actually going to be on the game, and I'm like, do I have to get the game now just because of that? But
yeah, when I was younger, I wouldn't have been. I was like, oh, female rock singers, no. But
a lot of female.
Huh?
Yeah, a lot of.
What'd you say, Ronnoc? It depends on the song.
Yeah, it depends on the song. So it's like, for a lot of female singers that I've gotten into, I've noticed. I mean, I'm gradually starting to get into more rock female singers, but it was mostly, for me, when I was younger, it was the punk scene, like with the Distillers, Brody. She was like, when I was younger, the only female artists that I really knew of were like her, Garbage, Tori Amos, and then the punk scene, you had the Distillers, you had Tsunami Bomb with Agent M. She's fantastic. I believe Lucky Strike had a female singer. So then as I got older, then it's like Evanescence came out, Lacuna Coil came out, and so now I'm starting to find more female singers in the rock genre, which I'm glad to see, because some of them, like I said, they are fantastic. Oh, and Loads of Acid, they had, I can't remember her name, but she was awesome.
And I'll say, last year for my 2024 bingo card, I did not have a Papa Roach and Carrie Underwood team up on my 2024 bingo card, but I don't know. That was probably one of the best songs I've heard. Leave the Light On.
Yeah.
And they've got different versions of it. They've got one where it's just Jacoby Shaddix from Roach singing it, so it's just Papa Roach. And then they have, I want to say they've got one where Daughtry joins them on that one. And then they have the big one is with Carrie Underwood. And I'm like, it actually sounds, to have his raspy voice and her kind of higher pitched voice, and the way that melody goes, it's like, it's just a perfect contrast,
Right. Well, there's a collaboration that has been rumored for the longest time, and both artists claim it exists. It's just not out yet, and they're going to release it when the time is right. But there is a collaboration of Ed Sheeran and Cradle of Filth.
I've heard.
And I just Danny, Filth, and Ed are like best buds, and they keep saying, yeah, we've got this collaboration. It does exist, but we're gonna release it when we feel the time is right. And I'm just like, motherfuckers, put the song out. I want to hear this shit.
Yeah. Well, that was like Koimiya. You gave me one with God, who was that? Surge from System of a Down and Tech Nine. Like I had
Yep.
never thought that we needed a Tech Nine and a System of a Down team up until I heard that song, and then I was like, why wasn't this out earlier? Because we
Yeah.
needed this.
It's such a great. It's such a great song. I actually had that on the radio the other day because on my Spotify playlist, straight out the gate, I love that song. So
I know Snoop Dogg has actually said that he'd like to do a team up collaboration with Willie Nelson. And at one point, I know this was just rumored, but Eminem was actually rumored to be teaming up with Reba McEntire. And I was like, okay, put Eminem and Reba McEntire in the booth together, and let's just see what happens. Because I mean, I don't like country, but she's a great singer. He's like one of the most popular and one of the most influential artists of all time. Let's put them together. Let's see what happens.
Maybe it's a weird combination, but I could totally see Eminem and Dolly Parton somehow collaborating.
oh yeah, I could definitely see that, and she's the type of artist that like transcends genres. She could probably do anything. So yeah, I could see that.
I wasn't a fan of them. I wasn't a fan of the Måneskin collaboration with her, but it was still, I could totally see her as she's able to do at least a little bit of everything.
Have you heard of Ren?
Ren?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
REN, like in Ren and Stimpy.
No, I haven't.
So then I found God, it's almost been 2 years now, maybe. He released a video of a song called Hi Ren. And it's like a 9-minute long song, but it's this great, like you guys talked about doing the mental health episode. It's a great like call out to mental health because he got misdiagnosed for the longest time, and he actually had like Lyme disease, but he kept getting misdiagnosed, and he's now actually has to do treatments because he has relapses and things like that. But he's fantastic. I highly recommend. I'll put it in private chat, but I highly recommend checking him out.
I'll check him out after this. Yeah.
But
there was another one that was like that too, and I want to just see what it was.
He does a lot of different. I mean, most of his stuff is more, I would say, rap and hip hop. But a lot of people compare him. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but a lot of people compare him with NF. So yeah, High Ren is a great song. Sick Boy is a great song. He's got this series of songs that is collectively known as the Tales of, because it's like the Tales of Jenny and Screech, and that's a great song. Yeah, but he's on Spotify, and like I said, Sick Boy is his newest album, and it's really good.
Yeah, I'll check him out after this. So yeah.
Yeah.
I am determined to find this. I cannot find it.
Well, you keep doing it.
No, there was a song that was actually an inspiration for a lot of people that helped them, and I'm trying to find who was the singer of it. No, it wasn't by Ren.
Because I was going to say, High Ren is one of their. A lot of people call that one inspirational.
No, the song was actually called 1-800, and this was the actual name of the song. It was called 1-800-273-8255, which was the suicide hotline. And the song is by Logic. Okay. It's the rapper Logic.
I think. Okay.
Yeah, and I think Khalid was on that too, DJ Khalid. But yeah, he was the song is actually all about like if you're having a hard time, and then he gives you that phone number. Like the whole chorus line is the phone number to suicide hotline. And I know they said Papa Roach said that was their inspiration to do Leave the Light On. It was that and the death of Chester Bennington and of Chris, from Soundgarden and everything, and then they also lost Scott from Foo Fighters, all to suicide. And Jacoby said he got tired of losing his friends, so he made that song.
See, and Ren has a song called Suicide, and he had a friend that committed suicide, and So that's like kind of Ren's, response to that. And the end of that song, holy shit, like it hits. Ronnoc, I posted in the private chat the link to the high Ren video. So, if you get a chance, check that out. Like I said, it's like a 9-minute long song, but even the first time, I am so envious of people who have never heard or seen that video, because I've actually gone down the rabbit hole of watching react videos to that song. And it's like, it's one of those where the first time you hear it, it's completely different than after you listen to it multiple times. I mean, it's still a good song, but I am jealous of people who have never, like, especially if you're an empathetic person, like, I'm jealous of people who have not seen it yet and get to see it for the first time.
Yeah, that's like me with there's actually a spoken word song. It's called Suicide. And it was by a guy named Bobby Gaylor. And what's interesting about him is he actually started, I don't know if he started this way, but he was actually a writer on Roseanne when it was back in the during its run, during its heyday. Yeah. Before it was the Connors and became what it is now. Yeah, and so it started with that, and he's got like this really dark sense of humor, but then he does this song called Suicide, and if you listen to it, he does a spoken word where he talks about how he starts out like how animals would do it if they were even allowed to have that thought, and then it goes into actually, if you commit suicide, well, here's the good things that would happen in the world if you did that. And then it like slowly, after about a 6-minute song, it slowly pivots into, why it's going to be bad. Like, oh, you look at all these great things that are going to happen, but look what happens here. Look what happens here, and kind of contrast. And the whole thing ends with him going like, hey, you were born, so finish what was started. It's like, it starts as this almost like ding, ding, and ends with this rock tune of finish what was started, So, yeah. And actually, I heard that when I was in high school going through a really tough time. And I listened to that like on repeat, going like, don't do it. Don't do it, So I credit that song and several other things. But
have you seen, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the comedian Bo Burnham.
Mm-hmm.
And did you his Kanye rant, the Can't Handle This? That one. So the first time I saw that was during it's like the ending of one of his Netflix specials, and I think it's called I Hope You're Happy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I watched that, my wife and I watched that, and we're just like, because it's like he practically has a breakdown on stage. And he's even said in interviews that like as soon as he was done with that video, he went off stage and just had a complete panic attack. And you can tell like towards the end of that video, and like some of this, because he does a couple screams in it, and like you can just tell the raw emotion in that scream, that you could tell like, yeah, he's about to lose it. And it's on YouTube. I highly recommend watching that because it's hilarious, but like at the same time, like just I get goosebumps like I am now, even just the thinking about it. Like it's fantastic. But
yeah, I do. But even him, like, he's definitely he like definitely doesn't. He's not really that afraid to speak about stuff. So
no, he's not, and it's great that he's not.
Yeah. No, and that's what was really great about Chester Bennington. And actually, the song Castle of Glass and the song Breaking the Habit, if you ever watch him try to perform those live, he has trouble getting through those.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of how close they hit to home. Mike Shinoda actually said that they came up with the song with the music for Breaking the Habit, and they didn't really know what to do with it. And they gave it to Chester, and they was like, what about if we did Breaking the Habit, like breaking, and then Chester wrote the lyrics around that chorus, Breaking the Habit. And then when he went to go perform, actually they said when he went to record it, they had to take several days just because he would do like 3 lines and then he'd have to stop and then do 3 lines and he'd have to stop. And eventually they had to pull him over and go like, dude, are you okay? Like they actually told Warner Brothers they'd shut down production on the album and get him help if he needed it.
Yeah.
And Yeah, eventually he got through it, but now if you ever watch him try to perform it, he has so much trouble, but it's like that almost makes the performance better because you know it's raw and you know it's real.
Yeah.
And he was never afraid to actually speak about it. But yeah, anyway, Ronnoc, I know you were saying like you're not too much of a gamer, but what other kind of like games do you play? Like you said, you're on mobile games. What other kind of things do you do? Do you ever do like the Angry Birds, which was one of my favorite ones for a long time?
I played some of the old timey games sometimes. Yeah, I never really
old-timey.
got into Angry Birds, but it was but it seems like a fun game.
Okay, you just called Angry Birds old timey, and now Connor and I feel bad. Calling me and I feel bad. It's like I was an adult when that came out, so I wasn't still an old timey game.
You kids, I tell you.
You kids and all of your, Xboxes and PlayStations and facey spaceys.
We had
Good thing you
3
don't have
channels and we
PlayStation.
liked it. So,
Back
God.
in my day, we had to actually adjust an antenna to get the TV.
Well, there was vertical hold and horizontal hold. But
We had one phone that the entire family used, and if one person was on it, nobody could call in.
God help you try to use the internet.
Oh my God. But yeah, I remember Angry Birds is actually one of those. It was actually, wasn't it designed by like a 12-year-old kid?
Probably.
14 or something like that.
Yeah,
Probably.
It was a kid that made that game, and it's now like one of the biggest, had like some of the biggest cultural impact we had ever seen. I'm like, that kid's now a billionaire over and over. I am 41 and I feel like I've done nothing with my life.
Well, you know what's funny is back in middle school, my friends and I, we used to draw tons of concepts for Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, of course, it never took off because we were fucking middle school kids. And then all of a sudden, it's like you've got Marvel versus Capcom. You've got Tekken versus. Didn't Tekken do like. Who did they go against? Was it no Street Fighter? Like Tekken X Street Fighter or something like that? And it's just like, I'm like, you know what? We were ahead of our time. God damn it. We should have patented that shit. I mean, then there still hasn't to this day been a Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. But you do have the DC Universe versus Mortal Kombat and the Injustice and all of that. And I'm just like, man, if they came out with a Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, I don't know, it would print money. I don't know why they haven't yet.
Probably a rights issue. Like
that's the only thing I can think of.
Because I mean, that's all it makes it. Because I mean, they have kind of crossed over before. I mean, they've been like, I think they've been shown in movies and stuff like that before. Weren't they both in Mortal Kombat or in Wreck-It Ralph? I want to say they were both shown.
Probably when Ralph's in like the equivalent of the AA meeting. Yeah, I know Kano was in there.
Well, you got to crush man's skull, like
and say, yeah, Kano and Zangief were in there. That's right. Yeah. So
yeah. So the fact that they were able to put their differences aside and be in that movie together. Of course, that was only one scene, but they were able to do that. They should make that a game.
I mean,
really.
I know Ed Boon probably has no problem pouring out the Mortal Kombat franchise because I mean, Sub-Zero's in the new season of Fortnite. I mean, I'm sure he has no problem doing that. Mm-hmm. But Capcom is weird. So, what?
Now, Ronnoc, if there was a crossover that you could see, what would you want to see? So obviously, Koimiya would want to see Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
A crossover?
Yeah,
probably. Ooh.
I know that's a tough one.
Oh man.
While you're thinking about that,
I know you guys are a gaming show, but I don't really play games, so this is awkward.
Oh no, not just games. Like if you could see any kind of crossover, like TV shows or anything like that. Any
a
kind of
band
crossover. Or
collaboration. I
band
mean, I know you have
collaboration.
mentioned Eminem and Dolly Parton, so
That'd be
I
cool.
just thought of something that I thought would be kind of awesome. You know the Roku like back screen. I don't know if this counts, but you know the back screen for like Roku, how like there's a whole city.
Mhm.
yeah,
Wreck-It Ralph plus that.
that would be pretty cool. And he's kind of
Oh,
like doing a King Kong thing and crashing out of
Yeah.
buildings, like what was that game, Rampage?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just want to say,
I
Dark
was gonna say,
Flame says, "Hey, you, how's it going, Dark Flame?"
welcome in.
Um,
We are talking about you.
so if I could see any kind of collaboration, and this is not necessarily just in video games, it could work in video games, but not just in video games. If I could see any collaboration, I'd like to see DC and Marvel, which I know we've seen them collaborate before. But I would
Well,
like
of
to
course,
see,
yeah.
but specifically, I'd like to see Batman and the Punisher.
Okay.
Because you've got one of them who has an absolute no killing people rule, but he seems to be totally fine with traumatic brain injury and breaking every bone in your body.
Right.
But then you've got the Punisher who will act as judge, jury, and executioner.
Okay, but what about this? Let me put a spin on that concept. Batman, Deadpool.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I could just see Batman getting so annoyed with Wade Wilson and all those like quips that he does.
Deadpool and Venom. Okay, yeah, I could see that Dark Flame. Yeah,
But
Deadpool
they've
and
done
Venom.
that before too, haven't they? Haven't they done like a Venom pool?
Well, yeah, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah,
But I'd like to
I mean,
see it again, like an actual, not just a couple pages of a comic book, but like an actual crossover. Like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be awesome. Because Deadpool and Venom, Deadpool and Batman.
And Deadpool wasn't anybody really. I mean, could you imagine Deadpool and Cable together? I mean, Jesus. I mean, they had that in the second movie. You know, they did do that. Or the third, the second movie, or I'm trying to think of who else would be a good one. I'm not too familiar with. I mean, I'm not as familiar with DC as I am with Marvel. I will admit that. But
what about Deadpool and the Flash?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or Deadpool and Green Lantern.
And Wonder Woman. I don't know how it would work. I think
Deadpool and Wonder Woman. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I can just see all the inappropriate remarks he'd be making.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. But I mean, I think if they want to make a hilarious movie, just all Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool and Green Lantern, that'd be hilarious. Just
go ahead.
Just for the mashup concept of Ryan Reynolds playing like every character. I mean, the hell, he should just go like the Jim Carrey route for that Jim Carrey did on what was it, Christmas Carol, because Jim Carrey played Scrooge and all three ghosts. Just do that, but it'd be like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Green Lantern, and how to throw Detective Pikachu in there while you're at it. It'd be just like all his characters into one film. I mean, that was pretty much Free Guy to an extent.
Yeah. Oh, I love you just changed that to the Grinch there as he's talking about Jim Carrey.
The Grinch is stealing an angel.
Well, you know what's funny about you, because you switched that over to the Grinch. Jim Carrey has actually said if he could bring back one of his older characters, he'd actually like to explore where the Grinch is at now. And which is funny because it's actually known that he was kind of a pain in the ass on set. But apparently he hated filming the Grinch so much. Like apparently he
smoked
kicked
tons of cigarettes just to get through the pain. They literally taught him torture. Yeah,
he kicked a wall and he broke down crying and told Ron Howard he couldn't do it anymore. And that was like after one day of filming. And they brought in like a torture expert for like people, like a torture that's helped Marines and stuff get through. And they basically said, smoke a lot and basically pinch yourself, do this, do that, whatever. And I'm like, but now he wants to redo it. But he said, I will not wear that yak hair again, and I will not put those the
contacts.
contacts in. So if we do this, I'll do it, and I'll go in a motion capture suit. But we are not doing that the
What
way
was
that
wrong
it
with
was.
the contacts?
Apparently, the contacts were like scratching his eyes, making his eyes like really.
I guess
itchy
they
and
were like,
watery.
yeah, they were larger than his actual eyes or something like that.
And they did that
I'm
on
gonna
purpose
go
because they wanted this kind of.
Adam, I'm gonna go ahead on one of my hills here. I did not like the Jim Carrey Grinch.
A lot of people didn't, so I liked it,
but yeah, I mean, it has its moments, but yep, nope. And I mean, hell, now what is it? The girl who played Cindy Lou Who? What is she's in the band now?
yeah, isn't it the Pretty Reckless?
Yeah. Which I actually like them. They were pretty good. They're pretty good. But no, I did not like the Grinch. That's no. My kids like that one.
Yeah.
But they actually like the animated one, not the original animated one, but the new one with Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch.
Mm-hmm.
They like that one a lot.
That's a good one.
That one was I couldn't get into it. Like I had, and like you said, it has moments, but I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
I think it's just too soft. I like the depressing. I know it's weird, but I like the depressing version.
Well, I mean, I grew up on the original one, so I'm like, that's the one. Just like I grew up on Mickey's Christmas Carol.
God, that is like dark. I remember watching that with my little nieces this past Christmas, going like, "This is probably scary for them." And it's like, wait, it was scary for me too, and I was fine. But damn, this is scary.
I never saw that, so I would not.
Yeah, in my opinion, because I mean, growing up with what my dad used to watch, the only two definitive Christmas carols in my book are Mickey's Christmas Carol, and then the one where Alistair Sim plays Scrooge, the old black and white one.
Okay.
And those are my two Christmas carols, and the rest are crap.
Hey, don't make fun of the Muppets Christmas Carol, because Michael Caine was awesome in that.
Michael Caine was the only awesome thing in that.
Maybe, but he was still awesome. And actually, I love the story behind that. I guess Jim Henson Company went to him and asked him like a bunch of times to do it, and he kept saying no, because the way it was written, they wanted him to be just as zany as the actual Muppets. And eventually he said, I'll do it, but I'm not going to do this wacky version of it. You're going to rewrite this, and I'm going to play it as if it's a Shakespearean play. And it was Brian Henson who I guess took it, rewrote it, and rewrote his character. And it was like, now I think that's the perfect combination, because you got the wackiness of the Muppets right up against his seriousness. And I'm like, that's what it should have been all along.
I will. Okay, so I do have one caveat, or however the hell you say it. Scrooged. I do enjoy Scrooged with Bill Murray. So I do enjoy that one. But
have you ever seen the one with like Ryan like the new version of like where it's like Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell? Like I don't Spirited.
I have not.
I haven't seen it. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Here's the thing. Will Ferrell's one of those actors.
Oh, he's not a funny person to me.
I have a love-hate relationship with him. Just like I've gone on tangents before that I'm not going to get into, but Cyclops knows how I feel about Chris Pratt and
okay, I remember you loved the Mario movie. You did not love him as Mario.
Correct. And Will Ferrell's another one where he's got a few good movies. Like I love Elf. I mean, exactly. You can't hate Elf. But for the most part, with Will Ferrell, it's a give or take. I can just, give it. He, in my opinion, he was better doing clips on Saturday Night Live. Keep him in short 6-minute little things, and he's fantastic. full-length films.
I wasn't a fan.
Eh.
I don't like him as a comedian. Maybe that says something. I don't know.
No, I mean, and he's one of those where I get the feeling sometimes,
He's a
not
frat
all the
boy
time.
comedian.
Well, sometimes, but not all the time. I get the feeling that he would probably be an asshole in real life.
Oh yeah,
There's
definitely.
there's just some people that, like I honestly think that Steve Carell, I think he would be an asshole in real life. He just gives me that vibe. And I've heard Peter Dinklage can be a big dick
Mhm.
off camera. And then you got those that you feel that, they would probably be genuine. Like Stephen Colbert, I think would be one of the greatest people to hang out with. I could be wrong.
But I love
could
that
be
he'll
totally
call
wrong.
you out on something. If he sees bullshit, he'll call you right out on it.
Colbert? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Jon Stewart. I think Jon Stewart would be a really fun one to hang out with, but he probably has his moments where he could be an asshole, and Will Ferrell, I just think, yeah. And on the other hand, one that I think is genuine, Ryan Reynolds probably is a genuine person where, like, it's not just an
Ryan
act.
could go either way.
I think that, yeah, you think?
With Ryan,
Like, I mean, I'm not gonna. It's not like I know him, but
No.
Yeah, but with Ryan, I think a lot of the movies that he does, not all of them, but a lot of them is just him playing himself. Deadpool is basically just Ryan Reynolds, being
See, and well, here's
being
the
his
thing,
smart-ass self.
I went on my rant about on one of the previous shows about Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt in every single fucking role he does, and how that annoys the hell out of me. I don't know why Ryan Reynolds does the same fucking thing, but I'm okay with it. I don't know why, and
because he can pull it off.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, maybe he's can slightly adjust it enough for comedic sake, where Chris Pratt is just it's the deadpan way the whole time.
Like the one movie that I saw with Chris Pratt where I actually enjoyed his character, and it's because he wasn't essentially Chris Pratt, is the one he did with that. What's her name from Hunger Games? They did a movie where, they did a movie where like they were in space, and
I remember
that one.
Yeah,
that
I know
one.
you're talking about.
I enjoyed that movie. I mean, he was a kind of a creeper in that fucking movie, and I was like, cool. He stepped out of his Yes, he stepped out of his comfort zone. He played a character that wasn't essentially him, and I enjoyed it. And see, Jack Black's another one where Jack Black is Jack Black in every single fucking movie, and I'm kind of tired of it. Like, I mean, I love Tenacious D. Absolutely love Tenacious D. But everything else is just him being him. And it's like, come on, dude, really? Like, again, one movie where he stepped out of his comfort zone that I absolutely love was that one I told you about, Bernie, where he played a guy who actually killed the woman he was taking care of. It was all based on a true story. And he was not Jack Black, and it was a great movie.
I think my favorite Jack Black movie is Tropic Thunder.
You live the holiday.
I actually haven't seen The Holiday. But no, I loved him in Tropic Thunder, but I mean, he was basically being a giant stereotype of every actor that gets in there and gets into drugs, but it was, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of enjoyed that. But again, you had that contrasting up against, Robert Downey Jr., who had just come off the Iron Man success and was now doing this,
Just a dude playing a dude.
With another dude.
Yeah.
No, Jack Black, though, I thought Jack Black was great as the voice of Bowser, in my opinion. But then when they had him playing Claptrap in Borderlands. When I first saw the first Borderlands trailer, I was like, I can maybe see where they're trying to go and have a fun time with this. As long as they keep the overall violence and the overall tone of the movie. And then I was like, oh, PG-13. Oh, you've got these actors that what are you doing? And then I was just I'm not doing it.
And Chris Hart as Roland. I mean, have you seen Roland? Roland looks like Dave Bautista. like built wise, and you got Chris Hart playing him. And I mean, I have not seen the
Kevin Hart.
Borderlands movie or Kevin Hart. Yeah, not
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, you knew what I meant.
Now he's going to be in the Minecraft movie, and I'm looking at that, and I'm just like, no.
Kevin Hart
That
is.
looks like complete shit.
Yeah,
I know Jack Black is.
Yeah, Black is going to be in it.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to take my kids to see that one because that's all they fucking do is Minecraft. Oh my god.
I guess we'll say thoughts and prayers are with you.
Yeah, I might have a spiked drink with that one, sneak a little something in. But
Ronnoc, you said what you thought it looked like complete garbage?
Yeah, the visuals are good, but just the storyline, I just know it's not going to be. You can't make Minecraft interesting unless you are like a miracle worker.
Well, I mean, they did a good Need for Speed movie, and that was
the game, it could be interesting because there's a reason why there's a reason why it's still up after so many years. But I mean, a movie of it, I can't see that.
I mean, if they're attempting to make a Tetris movie, I mean, a Tetris movie.
Wasn't that? I thought that was a documentary.
I thought it was like a movie. I don't know.
Because I know that IGN because they a lot of times will do fake things for April Fool's Day, and I remember they were doing a Tetris movie that they did as parody, and then they came out with one that said it was going to be a documentary. But are they doing an actual Tetris movie?
It's just it came out in 2023. It was just a documentary.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked it up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And yeah, I remember
biographical thriller film based on true events around the race to license and patent the video game Tetris. Because there was 2 versions of Tetris on Nintendo, if you remember. Because what was it? There's that one company that had the black cartridges, and they were the bootleg. They were a bootleg company, and they had a Tetris, and then there was the other version. I'm trying to pull it up now.
Yeah, I remember. I think they're trying to do a Sims movie too, and I was just like, "Please, no! How are you going to do that?" They were trying to do a Sims movie, and then, I have it in my Netflix queue, but I have not seen Gran Turismo. But everyone that talks to me about that says that that's an amazing movie.
I have not seen that either. I will freely admit.
I know, Ronnoc, you're probably a little too young for this one, but I actually just saw Stand By Me for the first time all the way through last night.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Okay, how does somebody much younger than me see a movie like that?
I have parents in my 60s, so that might be it.
Okay.
Yeah, Stand By Me is a fantastic one. What did you think, though?
I
thought it was
it.
alright. I was alright. I thought I only watched it after watching the Family Guy parody, but but I still thought it was an alright movie.
Piano riff, woo. Yeah.
And I love how they had Cleveland in there playing one of the people, and it was and he came in a totally non-stereotypical blend of 50s black way.
You need to come back in the actual way or whatever.
Train,
another
train. What an odd schedule.
Family Guy.
Yeah, it's amazing how well a lot of those actors ended up doing. I know River Phoenix ended up passing away, but I mean the heavy kid was Jerry O'Connell, who's done a ton of things since then.
Oh, I mean, hell, he was Robin in one of the Batman movies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, that was Chris.
That was Chris. Yeah.
Now, Jerry O'Connell was in a show, I want to say, called First Edition, where he got tomorrow's paper today, but he could undo the events that were going to happen.
He's been in a couple things. He was actually Sheldon's older brother on Big Bang Theory.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then What were the other ones there? There was River Phoenix. There was now I'm gonna sit here and like look up the cast.
Well, yeah. Speaking
Yeah.
of video game movies, though, we were talking about. What did you
Well,
think of Pixels, Adam? Because I'm sure you've seen that.
I have, yeah, because me.
Shit.
I actually didn't mind Pixels. I didn't think it was hot garbage, like you would say sometimes.
Yeah.
It was, but it was like it's an Adam Sandler movie. It's hot garbage on purpose a lot of times. I honestly thought the nostalgic that they were hitting with it, with bringing in the actual creator of Pac-Man to kind of poke fun at his own creation.
Right.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, and how they were paying homage to the 80s and 90s games. I thought that was great. I'm sorry?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought Ronnoc was saying something.
Oh,
I said something.
Oh, but yeah, I thought the homage that they were paying was pretty great. The story itself was, if you know what to expect with an Adam Sandler movie, where it's going to be loud, obnoxious, kind of screaming comedy, then you're going to go in knowing exactly what you're going into.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were sitting there wanting this to be like the greatest thing ever, and it was like it was never designed to be that. It was designed to just be something you shut your brain off and go have a good time for an hour and a half.
there was a movie. I can't think of the name of it now. It was kind of like about video games, but it was more like I don't know if it was video games, but it was like a role playing. It's like the Sword of Badassery or something like that. I don't remember. It was some ridiculous thing. That was actually a really good one. Of course, honestly, I think the first video game themed movie I ever saw was The Wizard with what's his nuts from that one what's his nuts from that one TV show, The Wonder Years.
Fred Savage.
Fred Savage, yeah, and that was like Nintendo's way of. It was like one big advertisement for not only the Power Glove, but then Mario 3, because that was like your first. Back in the day, before they had YouTube and you could put trailers on, and that was like the first gameplay footage of Super Mario Brothers 3 was that movie. But,
yeah. They did something similar with the latest Into the Spider-Verse movie, the second one, and that was coming out just prior to Marvel Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac Games. And if you watch when Peter goes into his dorm room and he sees Genki there, Genki is playing Spider-Man, and they said that was actual footage from Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what's funny about that? They actually had said that the movie, it was supposed to go beyond the Spider-Verse, because there was Into the Spider-Verse, then there was Across the Spider-Verse, and the next one is Beyond. So it was supposed to go across the Spider-Verse, or the second one anyway. The second Spider-Verse movie was supposed to come out, and then 6 months to a year later, they were supposed to have the third one. And apparently with that animation style and the way that Disney was treating the animators, or at least the way that the directors were treating the animators were like living in their cubicles. They were working 120-hour weeks. And it was actually, I guess, the studio found out what was going on, stepped in and said, I don't care if this pushes it back. You're not going to treat these people like garbage, and gave them their time. Now they've actually said that it's on track to come out in 2025, maybe 2026. But the actor who plays Miles said they haven't even recorded their lines for the third one. And it was supposed to be out a year and a half ago.
I thought the guy who played Miles or whatever his name is, I thought he said like he quit or something like that. I heard a bunch of things about it.
He was going to, but I think Sony convinced him to stay because he was upset about how the animators were being treated.
All right, yeah, I had to look it up. It wasn't a video game movie; it was a role-playing movie. It was called Knights of Badassum. And it's another one that had Peter Dinklage in it, but that one was pretty good.
Peter Dinklage, I've heard that he can be a real jerk, but I've also heard he can be the nicest person you meet.
Yeah,
I think it really
one of
depends
those.
On either. Yeah,
The day, yeah. Like I've heard the same thing. I mean, one thing I do tip my hat to him though is that he is a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great actor, and no matter what role he takes, he commits to it 100%. I mean, you look at him in Game of Thrones, he's fantastic. You look at him in Pixels with his fucking merit and everything, he was hilarious. Like, you know, I mean, he commits to the role and he has a good time. Like even in his little short bit in Elf, you know,
Yeah.
and no, that was not a midget joke. But like you know, he commits to it 100%. So I do tip my hat to him, even though I have heard stories where he can be kind of an ass off camera.
There's Ronnoc, do you ever watch, I know you said you had parents in their 60s. Do you ever watch a lot of those older movies with Peter Dinklage?
Yeah, I guess I'm not really Game of Thrones, but yeah, a little bit.
So, have you ever heard of a movie called The Three Christs?
No.
So, let me actually pull this up here. So yeah, there was a movie, and it was with three actors, and one of them was Peter Dinklage. It was actually with Richard Gere, Peter Dinklage, and Walton Goggins. It was also had Bradley. I think his last name is Whitford. He was he's in a lot. He's a character actor, so you've probably seen him before. But the movie is essentially, it's kind of I don't know what to really say about it other than it's kind of a comedy, but it's like three mental patients are all convinced that they are Jesus Christ, that they are the second coming of Jesus Christ, and they're all from three different backgrounds, but to try and get them to realize that they're not Jesus, they put all three of them in the same psychiatric hospital. And they butt heads to say who the real one is, and then they all try to realize that maybe they're not. And it's kind of a dramatic comedy, but it's really, really good. It came out back in, I want to say it was 2017 that came out. And so I don't know why I was asking, like, you had parents in their 60s, but yeah. So if you ever get a chance to watch that one, definitely do.
Sounds funny. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, their basic plot, and I pulled it up here, also known as State of Mind. In 2017, it was directed and co-produced by John Abnett. It was based on Milton Rokesch's novel, which was called The Three Christs, and it screened at several film festivals and won all kinds of awards. But yeah, it's basically this psychologist dropped out of New York University in 1954 and wants to work with the patients directly in the asylum. It's really interesting. I would definitely check it out.
Yeah, I'll check that out when I get a chance.
So there's this changing the subject a little bit here. Still talking about movies. There's a Christmas movie, and I'm tying this in because you still have your Grinch photo. So there's this Christmas movie that I saw when I was younger, and I absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. It seems to have flown under a lot of people's radar, and there's a lot of big names in it. It's called Mixed Nuts.
I have heard of that.
And it came out in 94. But I mean, it's like, it basically takes place. It said the synopsis says the events focus around the crisis hotline business on one crazy night during the Christmas holidays. But it's got like Steve Martin, Madeline Kahn, freaking Rob Reiner, Liv Schreiber, Jon Stewart, a lot. It's freaking hilarious. And I don't know how so many people missed out on it. But if you want a good holiday Christmas movie, Mixed Nuts.
How do you put Adam Sandler and Steve Martin in a movie and it doesn't do well?
Right. Like I said, it came out in 1994. So I mean, when I say as a kid, I was 14, but it's great.
If you want a good, I know, kind of a comedy that went over a lot of people's heads or that a lot of people missed, there's two of them that I can think of. One of them was Death to Smoochie. Did you ever hear about that one?
With Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ronnoc, have you ever heard of that one?
What was the name?
It was called Death to Smoochie.
No, I haven't.
So Death to Smoochie is a really big take on children's entertainment, specifically going after Barney, which was big at the time that that the movie came out. And it's basically Robin Williams plays a childhood a child entertainer named what was that, Rainbow?
Oh God, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, he plays a child entertainer, and basically he gets kind of pushed off to the side because because he does some illegal stuff. They push him out, and then they bring in a new child entertainer played by Edward Norton, who has a dinosaur-like character called Smoochie. And then basically the movie is about, this new guy who's plays Smoochie, who's got like the squeaky clean record, and you've got Robin Williams, who did a lot of bad things, got fired, and trying to get his job back by doing all these bad things. It's a really dark comedy, but highly recommended.
Well, anything with Barney, I guess, is good.
Yeah, it's very much a take on Barney, but it's a very, very R-rated comedy. Just so you know.
Yes.
The other one I'd like to mention was one called Citizen Ruth. That was actually with Laura Dern and Burt Reynolds, and I think Sissy Spacek, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of a hot button issue. It's a woman is pregnant. She is not fit to be a mother. She's been pregnant before. She's had kids taken away by the state before. But she's pregnant, and this judge actually tells her while she's in jail, if you want to go to the doctor and have things taken care of, you can go, and then you won't have to face jail time. Basically, he's telling her, have an abortion and we won't put you in jail for some crime that she had committed. And then when she goes to talk about it, she actually meets the protesters and stuff. And so she actually gets taken in by this family that's very pro-life. And then she kind of gets put in between the pro-lifers and the pro-choicers. And this whole thing culminates into like this hysterical way that they go back and forth. And the one thing I want to say about this movie is it does not take sides on that issue. It's like South Park, and just makes both sides look ridiculous, like to the extremes that both sides will go to.
Not to change the subject, but did you see that Miss Yvonne passed away today?
Miss Yvonne?
From Pee-wee's Playhouse?
No, I hadn't.
Yeah, 74. And cause of death has not, or 78. Cause of death has not been immediately, or was not immediately available. But yeah, She passed away.
I saw the Notorious B.I.G.'s mom pass away, but I didn't see she had.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what we got to do for that, right, Koimiya?
Well, of course.
And I know, Ronnoc, you probably can't do this just yet because we can't see your face, but we got to do this. Respect for them. Mrs. B.I.G. What?
Yeah. Miss Yvonne. And how many people loved her growing up, watching Pee-wee's Playhouse?
And now we got 2 brick walls here.
I see that.
Change in the background.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, there we are.
There we go.
So, yep. We usually, I just grab a controller. I usually have a Xbox or a PlayStation controller near me here. So just, yep.
Yeah, my controllers aren't. Mine are nearby me right now. Mine's charging.
Oh, okay. Water bottle's up for you.
Yep. Pour one out for my homies.
Yep.
But yeah, I saw that today.
No, but so a couple other things that I'd like to go through here. A couple of stories that have kind of passed by us in the last few weeks here. Did you guys see that that Batman is actually being relaunched in 2025? I know we were talking about Batman earlier.
What do you mean?
I have not.
So, yeah, let me of course, I hate how this thing does a share screen on this now. All right, allow, even though it's gonna mess that up for just a little bit there. But yeah, can you guys see that?
No.
I can see it down in the studio. You haven't brought it to the stage yet. There you
There we
go.
go. There we go. Oh,
There you
so
go.
I hit the wrong one. Yeah, right there. It's happening. Batman is being relaunched in 2025 with a new suit, symbol, and a city to match. This
I thought they were
one,
getting rid of him or something.
yeah. So yeah, this was coming from Screen Rant, and I've seen this in a few other spots too. But yeah, so exciting changes are on the way that are sure to have Batman fans absolutely buzzing. While fans wait to see what comes next in the upcoming Hush 2 arc of Batman, DC is teasing what lies ahead later this year. Fans aren't just getting an overhauled creative team, but a new kind of Batman altogether.
Huh.
Yep,
That's
then
interesting.
You can kind of see this right here.
Oh, look
So
at
you
that.
got Jim Gordon there.
It just made Gordon look like Stan Lee there.
Kinda. I thought the same thing when I saw it. But yeah, at Comics Pro, DC Comics has just revealed that it's relaunching the Dark Knights self-titled series with Batman #1. Artist Jorge Ramirez, I believe is that Ramirez? I'm not sure how to say that.
Yeah.
Is returning to the title and joining for the epic new start of the fan favorite writer, Matt. Okay, and then it just... Don't you love when it does that?
Yeah. Good old Screen Rant.
Where'd it go? Okay, yeah. DC gave fans a few previews of the Cape Crusaders' upcoming adventure and showed off its new, the brand new costume. So that was this one here, and that's what Batman's looking like now. So it's not too much of a difference, but it's just like, do we really need this? This almost looks like we've seen this before.
So it's weird because like the cowl looks like the old 1960s like TV show Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But then the symbol reminds me of the Batman Beyond symbol.
Yeah. See, and that's why I was like, it's not great, but it's not. I mean, it's not horrible. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of a combination. It's not a wholly original. It's kind of a combination of things that have been done before.
Yeah. Interesting.
What I'd like to see, we were talking about crossovers. What about Batman versus Ozzy Osbourne? He bit the head off a bed. You know.
I'd like to see Batman versus like who's the octopus guy?
Doc Ock?
Yeah, Doc Ock. I'd love to see between those two.
Yeah, I can see that.
That would be a good one. That would be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Batman has returned to his blue and gray color scheme and has a new, larger bat symbol. The publisher also released a unlettered preview that reveals Batman's new costume comes with a few hidden gadgets, such as a pair of display goggles. Batman gets a new creative team, new costume, new everything. So, I mean, here you kind of see kind of where they're going with this, but you ever wonder, like, these utility belts? I know it's maybe I'm putting too much of like reality into comic books here, but wouldn't all that stuff be heavy and weigh you down too much to be able to really chase after bad guys?
I would think the cape alone would freaking weigh you down.
Mm-hmm.
Like Batman, obviously.
Maybe we're just trying to be too realistic in video games and in comic books, but yeah, and then here you can get a kind of a good look at least what he would look like in the darker light here. And this has, well, I would say Batman Beyond, but wasn't that tail a little longer?
I don't think so.
This kind of looks like a combination of the Christian Bale Batman and Batman Beyond.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Ronnoc, are you a big Batman fan?
And yeah, I like him, but I'm more of the Flash fan. I'm more of a Flash fan.
Okay, so I would have to say I am very sorry about what was going on with Ezra Miller.
What happened
Honestly,
with him?
well, I just with you remember he was playing the Flash in the last Flash movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the trouble that he was causing, which is actually partially why the movie didn't do so well. Just people got tired of his behavior.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. DC was like, oh, maybe the Flash just isn't that popular of a character. It's like, no, that's not it at all. People just weren't a fan of Ezra Miller. Could have just, the movie was insured. You could have just recast him. But yeah.
Yeah, but how much of did they have done before all that shit broke out?
Well, I mean, they had an entire
it's-
Batgirl movie done before they just shelved it.
Did he leave?
No, I think he lost power here. Hold on, let me see.
There were two.
And then there were fewer. All right, hold on. Let me see.
I just knocked myself out.
Oh, I was just messaging you. I was like, wait, is everything okay?
Yeah, and I hit the back button on my mouse.
Oh.
So I went back to would you like to enter the studio?
Yeah.
I haven't been drinking.
I'm not as drunk as you think I am. What seems to be the officer problem.
Pretty much.
No, but yeah, we were talking about Ezra Miller and the Flash. You were saying something?
I was saying that, you'd said I'll just recast it, and if they had been in like early stages of making the movie when all that shit went down, that would have been easy, but depending on how much they had already finished, could they afford the time and money to recast the Flash?
Oh, maybe. But I mean, the whole thing was insured. Plus, I mean, it's not like Warner Brothers isn't used to canceling movies anyway that are already done.
True. But I mean, when you also, I mean, it's one thing to cancel the Acme movie, but when you're trying to compete with the MCU, how are you going to really want to toss everything aside and start over when you've already got X amount done?
Well,
so
they threw the entire Batgirl movie off to the side.
Yeah.
They threw an entire Scooby-Doo movie off to the side that was already done. They threw an entire Looney Tunes movie off to the side. Of course, I know those aren't really competing with Marvel, but still.
I mean, Supergirl might have a little bit, but
Yeah, didn't they have a Batgirl movie that was just thrown off to the Batgirl and Supergirl that they just?
I think the TV show got canceled or something like that.
Yeah. I know that because I know like right now with the whole, they're talking about what's his name, Jonathan Majors for Kang. Are they going to bring him back now? I've heard they're talking about possibly bringing him back after all his shit went down. Or, do you just recast him? I'm of the frame of mind that they should just recast him. I mean, they did it with, what's his nuts from the Iron Man movies?
Oh,
War Machine.
War Machine, yeah. Because that was Terrence Howard when it first started in the very first movie. And then it was
and then it went to
Don Cheadle.
What's his nuts? Yeah, exactly. And, and nobody blinked their eye at that. So, I mean, they could do that with Kang.
But
I mean, especially
they did
since they
that.
have the multiple universes, they can just say, "Oh, this is a variant," and you have somebody else, But
But I mean, they did that with what you call her, the Hulk.
yeah,
Bruce
Yeah.
Banner. He was Edward Norton in the first movie, and then it was all of a sudden it was Mark
Mark
Ruffalo, and it's been
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo since then.
And I've heard that they're actually trying to get Norton back to do. I could have swore I read somewhere they're trying to get Norton back to do another Hulk movie or something, but I'm like,
Um,
what's the point at this stage?
I don't think they wanted to do a movie, but I thought they wanted him to come in as a variant. Like I
Yeah,
had heard at one point that during the writing production of Deadpool and Wolverine, they were supposed to find Edward Norton's Hulk in the Void,
okay,
and I
that
know
that makes sense.
and Ryan Reynolds actually knows Edward Norton, and he was interested in it, but he was really kind of hesitant on working with Marvel again. But he was like, Marvel is now owned by Disney, which is different because it was Paramount when you
Mhm.
had it. So, and Norton is just like he wants to do more of like those movies that he says that make an impact, that tell a humanized story, but the Hulk wasn't really going to do that. And that's actually why the Hulk, I don't think, was the greatest movie in the MCU, because everyone else was going bells and whistles and this and that. And he was trying to make it like, this is depressing.
Real.
Like Hulk's story is actually very depressing when you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong, Ruffalo does a great job.
Mhm.
But I actually did like Norton's character
Yeah.
of Banner.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
but
Norton played an amazing Hulk. I'm just really sad that they couldn't make it work for him to keep playing Hulk.
have you seen the new Captain America yet?
Not yet. I'm going to hopefully see it this weekend when I get paid.
Gotcha. I've heard mixed things about that one already.
Have you, Ronnoc?
I'm sorry. What did you? What is the movie?
If you'd seen the new Captain America,
Oh no, I'm gonna wait until that's out on Disney Plus.
that's my route. But,
I'll see it.
I'm not paying $30 for like something I could just binge get it over with.
I know my boys were excited because I guess they saw that on Paramount Plus now. Sonic 3 is on there, so I guess they're watching that right now while I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm. I loved I loved the last Sonic movie, especially Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog was so great.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ronnoc, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm sorry to do this to you, but my phone's about to die. I might have to go going.
Okay.
No problem. Well, yeah, we thank you very much for coming and hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I mean, we're pretty much wrapping it up in another 15 minutes or so anyway. So
yeah,
but,
and if you're interested, you're always welcome to come back on. I've got you on Facebook, so come back on and we'll talk again.
Now I'll add you on my Spotify.
Cool,
So,
thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, these people have check. My username is literally what my username. My show is literally my username. So check me out, guys.
Okay. Tired granola bar.
Yeah.
All right.
Podcast.
Will do.
Anyways,
have a good night.
Later.
All right.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
So, but yeah, so my wife and I, we were actually looking at going to see Captain America. I think it just came out, on the 15th?
Yeah, it hasn't been out that long.
Yeah, so we were looking at going to see it opening weekend, and then we just never got a chance to because that weekend was just so jam-packed for us. And then because of that weekend being jam-packed, we have no money this weekend. So I've got a gift card that has some enough that we can go to the movie for free. But it was like, we still, when we go out to the movie, we usually end up like going somewhere for dinner because we don't want to come home and cook.
An actual date.
Yeah. So we're looking at going next week. And we're going to pick up, we're going to see that movie. And then there was another one that she wanted to see too. Oh, Love Hurts, or not Love Hurts. Maybe it's Love Hurts. The one with the guy from, he's the assassin, like a former assassin.
Yeah. The dude
Short
from
Round.
Short Round.
Yeah. It's funny. Everybody still knows him as Short Round, and he's like in his 50s now.
Right.
But yeah, Short Round was in that one, and I really want to go see that one. And then I kind of want to go see that other one that's out there, that Heart Eyes. But
Oh yeah.
Rachel likes slashers, but she likes them when we watch them at home.
Did you guys do anything for Valentine's Day?
So we actually didn't go. Oh yeah, we did. We didn't go out much, but we have a tradition where we usually will either cook something here, or we'll go to Outback Steakhouse, and
Okay.
we get our favorite. She gets her favorite salad, and I get my favorite salad, and then sometimes we'll go to the restaurant if we can get in, but usually we'll just do a to-go order and bring it home, and then watch a movie.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't do anything because, as my wife puts it, the previous weekend we went down to Illinois to see ATM. Rick we had on the show a couple weekends ago, and so we went down to their show, and which was fantastic. And like my wife said, at one point right before they started playing, she's just like, "How surreal is this?" Because it's like instant transport back 20 years. It was like 2005 all over again, and we're in a club and well, bar now, but getting ready to see these guys perform and all of that. And it was funny because there was people at the show that I haven't seen in like 20 years. And back in the day when they used to play in Rockford at the Pitt skate park all the time, there was a kid there. His nickname was Buttons because he had the punk rock thing. He had the jean vest jacket and buttons all over it. So his nickname was Buttons.
Oh wow!
And at one point, I like in between band sets, I was sitting there and Rick was walking past, and I'm like, "Rick," and he's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Is that fucking Buttons over there?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then Tony, his wife Courtney, the last time I saw her, it's 20 years ago when they were just first started dating. And she walked past, and I was like, "Allie, it's Courtney." And she's like, "Yeah, I don't think she recognized us." And so I tapped Courtney on the shoulder, and she turns, and I'm like, "Hi." And it's like you could see the light bulb go off in her in her head, like she's just like, "Oh my god," and I even said to her, I was like, "Did you ever think you'd be seeing this again?" And she's like, "Never in a million years." And it was a fantastic show. And even driving down, I said to my wife, I'm like, "You think they're gonna have new merch?" And she's like, "Probably not." I mean, they just quickly whipped together this anniversary show. Well, they had new merch because this shirt, brand new, and um, but yeah, it was fantastic. And I thanked Rick again for coming on the show, and Tony apologized for not coming on the show because he was going to, but then I guess his daughter had a gymnastics meet that night, and that's why he couldn't make it. So they both have said that they would love to come back on. Well, Rick said he would love to come back on, and Tony said he would like to come on for so we'll have to do another show with them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, especially with the way music is, we can have them on here just so we could do an entire segment with them every single week.
That's a month or something. Yeah. So
but yeah, definitely let's get them back on here.
And then so getting back to my story, we didn't do anything for Valentine's Day because, as my wife said, we had the epic weekend the weekend before. But God, we are old. It's like ATM did a show on Friday night as well that didn't even start till like 11 p.m. So we didn't go to that one. We went to the one on Saturday, which started at like 7 p.m. and was like, and it was great. We were done and out of there by like 11. But it was really nice, and I stole the set list. I've got the set list sitting behind me, and but yeah, it was really good.
I don't know why saying that we're old. It kind of reminds me. Do you remember the first Deadpool movie when he goes to X-Men to the school and he only sees Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and she's like, he's like, "Hey, Ripley from Alien," and she's like, "Fuck, you're old," and he's like, "Ha!" Fake laugh, hiding real pain, and then he's like, "Go get metal nuts or whatever,"
Yeah.
and it's like, "Why are you guys going to the early bird special?" And he's like, "Yeah, because there's something wrong with eating before dark or saving money," and I'm like, "Hey, in my 40s, that's actually what we do:
Right.
eat before dark and save money."
Yeah.
But in my
Yeah.
20s, I would have probably just been like, "It's not dinner time. It's only 8 o'clock."
Well, that's why I was laughing my ass off when Ronnoc called Angry Birds old timey. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like I play a lot of those old timey games. I saw somebody
Retro,
posted some.
son. The term is retro.
Yeah, I saw somebody posted it was a meme, but it said, "Guess what I heard today? I heard somebody refer to Linkin Park as old people music." And on a completely different note, I need bail money. So,
Right? For real. For real.
yeah, and I've heard that too, where people were like, "Oh, like the oldie stations." It's like, "What are you thinking oldies?" And they're like, "Oh, like Corn, Limp Bizkit." It's like, no, oldie station is like the Beatles.
Yeah. Well, it's like that one meme that I saw where it's like what I think of games 30 years ago, and it's like Mario on 8-bit, the first Super Mario Brothers, and then it's like the game 30 years ago, and it's like just like Call of Duty on PlayStation 1 or some crap, and you're just like, fuck, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw one that said PlayStation 2 was released 25 years ago at this point. They're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, the PlayStation, here's a hard pill to swallow. PlayStation 2 was 25 years ago." And then there was that meme where they're like, "Step 1, lay down. Step 2, try not to cry.
Yeah.
Step 3, cry a lot."
Yeah, I've seen that used for several things.
Yeah, that's another one of those. It's just like that one where the guy puts a stick in his bike and then falls and blames
something else. Yeah. Or the guy with the stick poking it. Come on, do something. So
the most recent one I saw was the one with the stick for the bike. And the bike was he picks up the stick, he puts it in his bike, and then he falls. And then he puts in there. He's like, "Fucking DEI programs."
Right. Yeah.
Like, they're not bothering you. They're not bothering anybody.
I've seen that one too, but it was damn immigrants or something like that. But
yeah. Oh, if since we're bringing up stuff like that, are you on TikTok? I forget.
So I am, but I don't really watch anything on there.
Okay. So
I will occasionally post something, and it's weird because I'll post the most random shit, and those are the ones that get the most views.
Mm-hmm.
And then like something else I'll post that I'm like, this will definitely get the views. We'll have like 7. But like I have one when Weird Al announced his new tour that he's going to be doing this year that with Puddle's Pity Party. I posted the flyer for that tour, and I wrote "Shut up and take my money," and I have some Weird Al song playing in the background. And that video has over 11,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
But my video of when I saw Baby Metal in Chicago is sitting at like 400 views.
Right.
And like, or something. I haven't quite figured out what's going to hit and what isn't on there.
Right.
And I made the joke one day at work, and my coworker was like, "You'd probably get a shit ton of views for it." Is I'm just gonna film random things, like the most mundane random things, like a leaf going by, and then I'm gonna just like majorly overreact, be like, "Well, that just fucking happened," something like that. Or a car drives past, and I'll probably blow up and be like the next biggest thing, because it's the stupidest shit gets the most views.
Mm-hmm. Like there was one I just saw before we got on here. There was a girl that was learning to ride her bike, and she was learning to ride her bike right next to her family's pool. And then, of course, what happens? She falls, and she falls in the pool. And they're like, "Oh, this pool is freezing." So you hear the little girl, "Ah!" like that, and it's like, okay, maybe she got scraped or something. And she's not hurt. she's obviously swimming to the side, and then she's sitting there like just screaming like you just cut her leg off.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? And then it's like, okay, so, and I even put a video or a comment on there. I was like, okay, so 2 things. One, why are you teaching her to ride her bike next to the pool in the first place? That's on you. that's just stupid. And 2, there was no reason for her to scream like that. Yeah, maybe that pool's overly cold, but also she was swimming. She's not hurt. She's in no danger. Why are you coddling her? There's so much wrong. And maybe that's the difference between my generation and this generation, because I would have been told, stop screaming, get your bike out of the pool. I'd have had
rub some dirt on it.
I'd have had to pull it out myself. Now get in here, set the bike up. Now go dry yourself off and don't track water all over the kitchen floor. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah. And some of those videos, it's like, yeah, I wonder how many takes it took to get that. You know,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's just like really, and all TikTok really is, in my opinion, is it's the new film America's Funniest Home Videos.
mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And just like America's Funniest Home Videos, 99.9% of them are crap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not funny at all.
But you get that one golden one. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I am on TikTok, but I don't post that often. When I got, for a little while there, when I got serious about streaming and trying to become an actual streamer instead of a sometime streamer, I created the TikTok, channel, because I was going to use that to promote myself and blah 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 blah. And yeah, no.
Mm. No, but where I was going with that though was TikTok. On TikTok, the Ben and Jerry's page went like full left wing on there, and MAGA.
I mean, they always kind of have been.
And that's why I'm wondering, why is MAGA having a meltdown over this? Because a long time ago, they put out a dairy-free ice cream called Change the World, and it was like WHIRILD or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was Colin Kaepernick that was on the front, and it was all about the Black Lives Matter. But it's like, I've had it. That's like some of the best damn ice cream I've had. I don't care who's on the front of it.
Dude, I to this day will fight anybody that disagrees with me that American Dream with Stephen Colbert on it.
Mm-hmm.
That one is fantastic.
Oh, I love it. I've had it before.
It's like, it cracks me up when they melt down about some of the things. It's like, really, it took you this long to realize? Like, did you see, it was a year ago when they realized what Rage Against the Machine stood for, like music-wise, politically-wise, and all that? It's like, what machine do you think they were raging against? The washing machine? Like, it's like, and
they were always politically charged.
Yeah,
always.
and same with System of a Down, and and it's like, it cracks me up, and it's like, I've seen posts on Facebook where it's like, oh, the party that wanted to change, syrup and all of that sure seems to have a problem with the changing of the Gulf of Mexico and da 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 da. And I'm like, dude, you guys fucking flipped out over a beer can, and who was on it? It's like both sides are fucking ridiculous, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, they really are. And that's why my wife's family gets mad at me, because I'll sit there and I will rip on Republicans up one side and down the other. And then they'll start going like, well, Democrats are bad. And I'm like, yeah, we want to talk about them. And then I'll start ripping on the Democrats. And then they're like, oh, wait, I don't know which way to go now. And they both suck. I've said, like, there's really no difference between the two of them. They're just,
there's
we're going to screw you over.
Different sides of the same coin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I saw the one, and I've actually had this conversation. I will admit, I live in a very deep red part of Wisconsin, and the one day a guy came in, and the nice thing I like about him is I can bullshit with him, and he and I can, I don't mind having a debate or a conversation. When you have an actual conversation, when it resorts to the name calling and all of that shit, I'm like, okay, done. But this guy,
And then they think they won. It's
yeah,
like, no.
this guy, I can, bullshit with him and he'll bullshit with me. But we have a mutual respect for each other. We can have these conversations. And one day he was going on and on about, the investigations into Trump and da 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 da. And well, what if we investigated Hunter Biden? I'm like, fucking do it. Like do it, but it like blew his mind that I was like, yeah, do it, because again, it's both sides of the same coin.
That's like Keenan Thompson said when they did that investigation for that Dark Side of Kids comedy or Dark Side of Kids TV, Quiet on Set. I think he was on Martha Stewart, or he was on one of those talk shows right after it came out because he was promoting something else. And he was the one that said, he said, I didn't know Dan very well. I've met him, but I didn't know all that stuff was going on. Don't know any of this. So those shows, a lot of the stuff came for people after my time. And then when they said, oh yeah, and they're investigating this and that, and he looked at the camera and goes, they need to keep investigating. And it was like kind of surprised that this big Nintendo alum who's actually made it in Hollywood is saying keep investigating. And I was like, see, that's what you need. You need to, he's right, keep investigating. And where I'm going with that is like, so you say we investigate Hunter Biden, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we've got a president who has 34 felonies, but at the same time, our other option was somebody who's literally thrown people in jail for like small marijuana crimes.
Yep.
They really need to investigate both of them, not just sit there and say, oh, you. It's like, nah, you both kind of suck.
You both suck. You both suck. Plain and simple. Yeah.
It's like that old Family Guy thing of like, kids, you're both just awful.
Right? Yeah. And
go ahead.
I don't even remember where I was going with it. It's already that train's left its station. So
no, what was his name? I think it's Bill Burr, the one that we were comedian that we were talking about that does F is for Family. That's actually
we were talking about Bill Burnham. Bill Burr does. Bill Burr is another comedian, yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that I kind of really agreed with him when he was talking about politics. He was like, I think it was on Conan, and he said, I don't like politics because they both just say the same thing. Mm-hmm. He's like, they say the same thing, and if you say that they're different, you're wrong because all you're doing is just buying into a color. You're not buying into what the party's supposed to be about. And his whole thing was, I actually saw that, and then I saw a meme later that said, here's what America is. And it had a guy who was representing the average American, and a man with a red tie walked up and stabbed him and said, this is what's good for the American people. And then in the next cartoon over, it had a guy with a blue tie on, put his arm around the average American, take a knife this way, stab him this way, and said, don't you want to do what's best for the American people? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, so that's basically what it is. One guy just said fuck you, and the other guy put his arm and said fuck you.
Yep, pretty much. It's a shit show. Mm-hmm. It's just an utter shit show.
I'm, since we're more of a video game and technology and entertainment kind of podcast, I will say I'm kind of scared about what these tariffs are going to do to the price of computer chips, the price of video games, and price of all of the things that take all these chips to work. Like the systems we're using right now.
Well, I mean, I think I said it was, or I didn't say, but I saw it was one of the car manufacturer companies have already said, be prepared to get fucked. I think it was Ford, but they basically, in layman's terms, came out and said, be prepared to get fucked. So, it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and people don't seem to realize how tariffs work. They think that the other country is going to be paying the tax on them. It's like, no, that's to import them. And then, they get, when they want to put the price on somebody, they pass it to the consumer, i.e. us.
Yep.
And people want to go like, oh, the price of eggs. It's like, that's more of the bird flu. But trust me, shit's going to get insane here. It's already insane.
Well, I was going to say shit's already insane. But, I mean, shit's always going to be insane. My mom and I were actually, because like I said, she came down this weekend because my son had a birthday. We were talking about this earlier, and we've got mutual family friends that when that you knew my parents before I was born.
Mhm.
And when my mom got pregnant, their whole thing was, oh, how could you bring a child into this world and blah, 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 blah. And then when my wife got pregnant, they were, oh, how can you bring a child into this world and blah, 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 blah. And then when my brother's wife got pregnant, it's, oh, how can you bring it? And I'm like, it's never going to change.
Mhm.
So just have the child. Hopefully they aren't a shithead, and then let them procreate and continue on down the line. And it's not going to change. And I'm getting to that point in life where I think it's silly to even try to change
Mhm.
it, and that makes me sad. That makes me incredibly sad that I've gotten to that point because you obviously want everything better for your kid, but you don't know how to change it because the government is going to do what it wants to do,
Right.
regardless of who you vote for, regardless of, who has more control. The government's going to do what they want to do.
Well, shit's not going to change unless a lot of people get real cool about a lot of things really quickly. And
And
it's
it's
just not
never
going
going
to
to happen.
happen. So
It's never going to happen.
the fact we're still
Um,
arguing about the same shit we did back in the 1960s proves it's not going to happen.
yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's ridiculous to think. And it's funny with Facebook having that on this day option where it's like, 2 years ago you posted this, 3 years ago you posted this. It's like I can go back and it's like a greatest hits of every election cycle going, well, here we are again fighting about transgenders, from like 12 years ago. Yeah, well, here we are again fighting about immigrants, from 13 years ago. It's like it's ridiculous. And I even said this to my mom today. I said, this is why on Facebook I've like not recently, but a couple of years ago, I used to get very political on Facebook.
I
I try
remember.
not I try not to anymore because I'm preaching to an echo chamber. 99% of my friends are going to agree with every fucking thing I say. And the 1% that doesn't, I'm not going to change their mind.
Mm.
So it's like I'll occasionally be like, hey, did you see what the assholes in DC did today? Especially when it pertains to shit that does affect me, like the video games and stuff like that. Like when they're trying to, what was it? When they were trying to ban make it so that you have to be 17 to buy mature rated games and shit like that and stuff like that. When it affects things that, I take a personal interest in, I'm not trying to sound mean, but then, yeah, I might post a comment here or there, but I'm definitely way less political than I used to be. I just keep my thoughts to myself because, again, I'm just preaching to an echo chamber.
So yeah, and that's actually partially why I don't post a lot of political stuff in the Gamers Got a Game or the Garbage In Garbage Out page now.
Yep.
When that was Games and More and Gamers Got a Game, I used to post not frequently, but I would post anything that had anything to do with gaming and politics.
Yep.
And I don't know if you remember, but that sometimes blew the lid off and turned it into a shit show.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
I remember. There was several times I'd have to go in there and delete comments or turn comments off completely. I remember.
Yeah.
I'm the same way on my Twitter. I try to strictly say out of politics on my Twitter. There's been a few times where I've had to comment. I won't ever directly post about something, but like I'll comment on something that somebody else posted. But
it's really unless it directly affects the video game industry that I post. Like when Hillary and Trump were going at it, there was actually one where Bernie Sanders put up a hashtag "video games are not to blame."
Yeah,
because Trump was blaming video games for like the world's violence, because of course that's an old trope we can't just let go.
Right, and then and Hillary was the one that was on part of the ratings board to come up with the whole ratings system.
Wasn't it her, Tipper Gore, and Liz Cheney?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then because I think it was the same group for the parental advisory sticker on music.
Which I do kind of agree that we need a ratings for that, because I mean, obviously, maybe a little kid shouldn't be playing Grand Theft Auto, but so I kind of agree with that. But the whole, they were trying to make it sound like video games were the worst thing ever. Like, if your kid did happen to play Grand Theft Auto, they were going to turn into a psycho killer. And it's like, no.
Well, it's the same thing as like, in the 80s, if you listened to Twisted Sister, you were going to kill your parents. And then or if you played Dungeons and Dragons, you were going to worship the devil. And there's always a bad guy. And we could probably make a whole show about this some other time.
We should.
Yeah, we should. But yeah. So
I'm sure we can find some dumb parent who wants to come on here and be like, it's evil. It's like,
yeah.
You don't know. We're laughing at you.
Right. But yeah, no. So yeah, I try to stay out of politics now, and because I have a better conversation talking to myself in the mirror than I do with 99% of the people out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also why, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there publicly. I will not let Melanie Mack on this page. Do you know her?
I've heard of, yes.
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 Yeah, Charlie was talking to people from some of those other pages, like Melee Games, and she associates with them and a few others quite often. And the minute I went onto her Twitter page and I saw her just bashing gays for no reason, I was like, "Yep, you're not coming on this show." So I'm sure it affects her very much, but she's been banned from this show.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably heartbroken.
Yeah,
but
it affects her so much. Some one-eyed guy and his
man.
Yeah. Some one-eyed guy and the white bearded dude have said, I can't come onto a show I've never heard of. I'm right. She's so affected.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, but all right. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
I mean, we could. Well, I know we're going over our 2-hour limit here. I was going to say we could talk about the state of play.
Oh yeah, just a little bit here.
Briefly.
The lack of.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't even watch it. I got the Cliff Notes version of everything as it was scrolling through my Facebook feed. I was excited to see that Days Gone is getting a native PS5 update. Because I feel that was a highly underrated game.
It's kind of funny because it sounds like Sony always made them feel like that game was a flop, and it's like there's such a fan base behind it, Yeah,
and clearly Sony feels that it wasn't enough of a flop to warrant a remake or remaster. I mean, granted, it was they probably pushed it off to a third-party company, but I'm excited because I absolutely loved that. Have you ever played that one?
I've played it. I didn't play it all the way through. I still need to go back to it and get to the end of the game. But yeah, I do remember playing it, and it was fun from what I played.
Yeah. I already pre-ordered the. Because if you own it already, the remaster is only $10.
Mm-hmm.
And so I already threw the $10 down on that.
Yeah, I know that they had pitched a Days Gone sequel, but Sony shot it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time they also said that Ghost of Tsushima was running the same numbers that Days Gone was, and everyone was talking about how awesome Ghost of Tsushima was selling. But the director of Days Gone said, "Hey, we did the exact same thing, and Sony always made us feel like it was a flop and a failure." And that's when Sony kind of went on like, "Well, and it's like,
let us walk that one back."
Yeah, and they were like, "Well, it wasn't a flop, and it did its numbers," and it's like, that's not what you told the team,
Right.
Yeah, so that I was excited to see that, but there's also Monster Hunter Wilds. I know they debuted their new the new Monster Hunter Wilds game, which I believe comes out later this week.
I was gonna say, I know I've been seeing hype for the beta on my PlayStation dashboard every time I've been turning that on.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into the Monster Hunter games, So I was like, meh. Borderlands, I was of course excited about. And I can't wait for the later on state of play that they said was going to be Borderlands themed.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the thing. Everybody, they were supposed to ride the success of the movie into the new Borderlands 4, but the movie flopped, and everyone's like, let's get the taste of that out of our mouths with the new
Right.
Borderlands 4.
Please release the game quick. What else was there? I can't even Ninja Gaiden Black 2.
Yeah, well, there was Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
Yeah.
That was another one. They did Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which, okay, I mean, that does have its fan base. I'm just not part of it, but there is got its fan base. Digimon had a new game coming out. There was one that I thought looked pretty interesting called Lost Souls. There was also, they showed a little bit about Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii,
which has since come out. That actually came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
and
the demo at least did.
No, the full game came out on the 20th.
Oh, it did?
The demo,
okay.
The demo came out on like Monday, and then the game came out on Friday. And I've already finished the first chapter because I love I've stated this before. I love the Like a Dragon games, and I went through and finished Infinite Wealth like a week ago just so I could be ready for Pirates of the Caribbean, Hawaii, whatever the title is. Because they always come up with ridiculous names, and I've got to say, it doesn't disappoint.
Okay.
That it literally, the opening intro of the game even is fantastic, and it's even got a musical number, and like it's typical Yakuza ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So I'll definitely
here's the thing. I was going to stream it, but I love the Yakuza game so much that like I initially started off streaming Infinite Wealth, but it got to a point where I was like, I gotta know what happens next. I want to play this game more. I don't want to wait till the next time I'm streaming it, because who knows when the next time I'm going to fucking stream is. So I started playing it off stream. And so I know the same thing would happen if I started streaming the Pirates one.
Right.
Like I would get to a point and be like, okay, well, that's been fun. We'll pick this back up next stream, and then I won't stream for like 5 months. And I'm like, I can't wait that long. So I need to find a game that I can stream that I'm not going to get absolutely hooked into enough to want to play it off stream.
Right. No, I totally understand that. Other ones that were announced there though were Dave the Diver. There was,
which I believe is already out on Xbox.
Yeah.
I thought it was on Game Pass even.
There was WWE 2K25, which I know 2K has a lot of faith in. That will come out on PlayStation 5 March 14th. So you've got just a couple of weeks to wait now. Obviously Borderlands 4. There was one that I thought looked really interesting. It's one maybe you and I could play together. It's called Split Fiction.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually by the same guy that did Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and the award-winning, what was that other one? It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. Yeah, I saw the trailer for that initially. I think they announced that at an Xbox showcase, and it looks interesting because it's supposed to take place. I think it's a sci-fi setting and then a medieval setting.
Yeah, you play as two different girls that are like using their imagination. One's one setting, one's the other, and they got to like work together.
Yeah, that looked interesting.
Mm-hmm. And he's talked about his, working with EA before, and he's like, we pretty much have EA's coffee budget as our budget. And I'm like,
yeah.
How are you putting out games like this, with that small of a budget? Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of shows that it doesn't take money to do this. It takes creativity.
Yep.
The one I was really excited for was we finally got a release date for the new Dark Pictures anthology game, Directive 8020.
Okay.
And that is going to be October 2nd. That one I'm really excited about. My wife is actually somewhat excited about it too, because even though she doesn't play games and she really doesn't like a lot of horror things, she does like some, but not a lot. She likes space things, and this is directly in space.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, October 2nd, I'm like, yep, that's just in time for spooky season, so I'll be playing that during our spooky streams.
Nice.
Five Nights at Freddy's has a new one coming out, Secret of Mimic.
Okay.
That'll be June. There was another really interesting one that I saw called, this kind of looked like that one that you got me into, that
Doki Doki.
no, not Doki Doki, the other one.
Oh,
That was like a Tim Burton like game.
Lost in Random.
Yeah. There was one called The Midnight Walk. It's described as a handcrafted dark fantasy adventure. And it looks another kind of Tim Burton like game, and that looked fantastic. But the problem is that's on PlayStation 5 and VR 2. I'll be playing it on PlayStation 5 because I don't have a VR.
Okay.
There was a fun kid-like game that was announced called Darwin's Paradox. That was with that kind of cartoony like octopus. That's help Darwin the octopus escape a food factory to get back to the ocean.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool.
There's a new Warriors game, Abyss. Not
Okay.
Warriors like, like what they did with Rockstar, where they did the game version. I really wish they'd go back to that, but then there was Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny, was showcased. And then they also had another one, Onimusha Way of the Sword, which was also showed at the Game Awards.
Right.
Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Another one I thought looked really good is called Hell Is Us, and that's one that's been taking a long time to come out, but that looked really good.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
Lies of P Overture, which is a prequel to the Lies of P. Dreams of Another, which I thought kind of looked interesting. It's a third-person shooter. Days Gone Remastered, obviously. Stellar Blade and Goddess of Victory, which was the Nikki DLC. Have you played Stellar Blade?
I have it. I started it. I have not finished it. I enjoy it. A lot of it reminds me of almost a cross between Christ, what's that game? Bayonetta and Nier Automata.
Oh, okay.
Especially the music. The music has got a very big Nier Automata vibe. So much so that they've actually had a DLC pack of Nier Automata. And so you can definitely tell that the developers of Stellar Blade definitely have done at least their homework with Nier, because like I said, they did the DLC pack even, and you can get the outfits that are in Nier.
Okay.
So
yeah, and then there was Blueprints, which looked really good. That's like kind of one of those shifting rooms kind of games. Abiotic Factor, which right here says that's going to be a PC game, will release on console. Doesn't really tell you much about it, and the trailer was pretty short.
Okay.
Another one I thought looked good was Tides of Annihilation. This is you're driven by vengeance and a desperate need to save her sister. She embarks on a high-stakes journey across two worlds, a shattered modern London and the mythical Avalon. So this one looks like a really interesting kind of sci-fi game that I want to, for lack of a better term, keep my eye on.
Okay. I get it. Mind's Eye. I remember watching the trailer for Mind's Eye. That one looked really good.
Yeah, Metal Eden I thought looked interesting. Mind's Eye looked really, really good. Saros, which is this actually I believe is actually a I don't know if it's a spiritual successor or if it's a downright sequel to Returnal.
Right. Yeah, that one looked pretty good too.
I just never picked up Returnal because I can only play games for about 2 to 3 hours at a time. before I usually have to go to bed because of my my streaming schedule and my work schedule. And I remember Returnal, they said didn't really have any save spots. So I'm like, so great. If I shut this off and I shut the PlayStation down, I'm stuck.
And I will tell you right now, I have Returnal. It's hard. It's like a bullet hell Souls game. So,
I mean, maybe if they gave us some save spots or toned it down a little bit.
It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful game. I actually want to go back and see how it runs on the PS5 Pro. But yeah, Returnal it's hard, in my opinion. I mean, I'm also getting old. I find the Souls games hard. I've said this before. I have a love-hate relationship with those games. I love to play them. I hate that I suck at them, and I never get anywhere. Like, I mean, I have Elden Ring. I still haven't even beaten the first main boss. You know, like I suck at those games, but I love playing them.
Yeah, I've had a few people that think that beating's, you know, they're like, oh, I beat Dark Souls 3, like within just about 3 weeks. And I'm like, that's not the flex you think it is, man.
I mean, it can be because, like I said, some of those games are hard, in my opinion. And, you know, it does take a level of skill and knowing how to react and counter react to certain things, but I don't have the time for that anymore. You know, I will freely admit I've become that guy that's like, all right, we're playing this on the easiest mode so I can get through the actual game, you know, and enjoy it. I'm enjoying them now more for the story than the actual gameplay, which is why I love the Like a Dragon games, because the stories in those are just phenomenal.
When I was younger, I mean, getting me to play something on easy mode was like pulling teeth, and I just would not do it. I'd be like, you know, the game would be like, oh, looks like you're having difficulty. Would you like to tone down the difficulty levels? Like, no, did I ask for your opinion?
Crank it up. Yeah.
Yeah, so. But now a lot of times I'll be like, okay, it's been an hour and I still haven't gotten any further. So yes.
I'm still on the first mouse. Yeah, exactly. If
only they would have let us do that with Cuphead, you know.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Cuphead. That's another game that I absolutely love and I've never gotten anywhere on.
I love the cartoon, but I've never beaten the game. I've gotten like to this, you know, I've gotten to like the 5th or 7th stage or something like that. And I'm just like, nope. Okay, the fact that I can't do this any level is...
Yeah.
I heard they're coming out with Cuphead too, but...
I heard that too.
I know they had the Delicious Last Course, which was DLC. But...
Right.
All right. I like that they didn't force that. Actually, they did what? They dropped that. I want to say a year, maybe a year and a half after the actual game. And they said we're not gonna work our developers to death. It's like respect. Right. But all right, yeah. So I know we're a little past time when we're usually getting out here. So did you have anything else?
No, I'm good for now. Give me a week and I'll have some more rants for you probably. But
hey, the rants are always fun.
There's something.
All right. Well, want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out. As far as we know, we'll be back next week as long as neither of us gets super sick.
Something else happens.
Yeah, or something else happens. So, yep, we should be here next week. And it sounds like the amazing Transparent Man wants to come back on the show. So we are going to set that up. And I'm going to be, I've got a lot of people that actually have said they want to come on the show. Was that you?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, it was like some kind of weird thing in my head. But yeah, we will, maybe it's voices. I don't know. But yep, we will definitely be back. So yep, and just remember, haters gonna hate and gamers got a game. And let's take it away, Yakko.
Good night, everybody.